And we're live.
But the only thing like that we did was it was in a religious class, and it was not at all genuine. Like, it was like, okay, we're going to talk about all the different views in the world and all the religions, and, Taylor argue against Richard, and you're on team Islam, and he's on team Christianity or whatever. And of course it was Christians. And so, like, the little, like, pamphlets and books they would give us, it was laughable to get a book 95 pages long and then look at the table of contents and it says like Islam, atheism, nihilism, all these other perspectives, and then at the end it's like Christianity. Then it's like it goes through and gives like a lazy little 3-page synopsis of why all of these very complicated religions and perspectives are just completely null and void. Not even from a logic perspective, from a, the biggest reason we know that Muslims are wrong is because they don't have Jesus. And it's like, that's not compelling to anyone.
It says right here in the Bible that they're incorrect.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, that was infuriating. I thought that I was going crazy in a few religious classes when I was young, being like, no, you guys can't use the Bible to prove your point. This is only the book that you like.
They might like if have made some sort of a pact with a demon. There could be demonic involvement. You might want to seek the services of a trained exorcist.
Taylor, I'm very concerned about your soul. In class recently, you've been speaking up a lot against the Lord. Is there something you need to tell me? It's like, no, I don't. I'm not going to have to sit with you and talk about this after class. I just raise the hands, oh, Lord Jesus, save me. And like, all right, he passes.
At your church, did they ever speak in tongues at your church?
The churches that I went to growing up, no. I did go with my friend Ben, when I was like 9 or 10 years old maybe, and I spent the night at his house, and then the next day was Sunday, and so we went to his church, and to be like 10 and be embarrassed for like a 46-year-old woman is a feeling that's a once in a lifetime feeling. You don't get that feeling of visceral gut guilt until you're old enough to kind of have self-awareness. But I remember sitting in that pew, everybody was singing and doing their thing, and this lady like got out in the middle of the aisle. When God lets you speak in tongues, he also wants to make sure that everybody around you sees, oh, look at how virtuous Susan is. And they just mumble and say nonsense for a couple minutes. And I was really upset. It upset me because it made me think like, shit, that's weird. Am I going to go to hell because God doesn't want to give me tongues? Or is this made up? Is this the bullshit? And am I right at my church? Or like, is my church wrong because people aren't jumping up and, saying supercalifragilisticexpialidocious dancing around in the aisle?
Yeah.
And so that's like, as a kid, that's confusing because you haven't figured out that it's all bullshit yet. And so you're like weighing fictitious things against one another, trying to make sense of it.
I am hypocritical right now, and it's confusing to me as an adult. I'll explain. If I see a church that like wants your money, that's always like taking your money. We tried to go to a church when Hope was young, and they're like, oh, step one to joining our church is to give us access to your bank account. We'll make a bunch of direct withdrawals on us. Yeah, they'll start tithing like on a schedule and whatever. And if your church gets really fucking money hungry, then I'm like, no, this is horseshit. This church is just kind of a thief thing. On the other hand, if your church is in a strip mall and doesn't have like nice facilities, I will also look down on that church. I want you to have a pretty impressive building, so I know you're a legit organization that doesn't ask for money.
You'd have a flat screen and a lobby and probably a Keurig machine. Goddammit.
Yeah. Dude, I need something gold, some statues. If Jesus isn't hanging from a cross made out of real fucking wood, I don't want no paper mache Jesus. What the hell is that all about? No, I want a wooden cross made out of railroad ties, or you don't have a real church. But if you ask for money, you don't have a real church.
I got really uncomfortable. Well, go for it, Taylor.
No. You're all up.
Oh, no, I was just saying that, like, I always, like, talking about that, like, pit of guilt. Like, my mom is super religious, and so I had to go to church every single Sunday until I was 18. And, like, I would get super excited whenever I had a soccer game on Sunday. Because, like, it was Christian, Catholic, and so it was a nice church, too. But my mom did pay the 10%, and as soon as I learned that, and I was, like, 14, I was, like, it kind of, like, hit me. I was like, you're paying how much to the church just to fucking go? Like, what's the matter with you, woman?
I thought they were paying us.
Like, honestly, we get snacks at the end. Are you paying for all of the snacks every Sunday? Like, I mean, and like the whole, like, I appreciate what religion might have instilled upon me in beliefs, but the whole thing, like, when you go through the Our Father and everybody's monotonely, like, praying to Jesus at the same time, and in the voice, I'm looking around, I'm like, guys, I watched a documentary on Hitler. Like, this is the same shit. Like, everybody's doing the same shit. It creeps me out. It's weird.
Dude, Catholicism, like, that was, I felt just like going to that really religious, whatever the hell kind of church with Ben that day and seeing somebody speak in tongues was weird. But the opposite was weird as well, to go to like a Catholic church and see how regimented everything was and how much it was like, you kneel now, you say this now, you do this now, and now we're going to do communion. The Christian church I went to was more like, this kind of just symbolizes Jesus's blood and his flesh. The Catholic mass guy was very intent on making sure that I knew that bread he was going to put in my hand or in my mouth was a piece of Christ's flesh. He must have said it 3 times, and that I was going to drink his blood. And then everybody gets in a line and they walk up to the old man and he puts the wafer on your tongue. Or if you're like me and don't want an old man hand who just talked 60 tongues, you go, just give me this.
I just imagine this really intense guy, all red faced in the front of the room. Everybody, all the boys are kneeling with the little cracker on their tongue. He hasn't let them eat it yet, and he's just screaming, "This is not a metaphor. This is
really his."
Literally Christ's flesh.
I picture some priest getting a hard-on as like rows and rows of 8-year-old boys and girls in their little Catholic school outfits sitting there with their tongue out like, put it here, priesty. And he's just like, oh, so hot. So hot. This is fapping material for me later. What were you saying, Kyle?
If the child says, put it here, priesty, clearly that young...
Jesus Christ. He was asking for it, okay, sir? Your Honor, he was asking for it.
I just, dude, I don't know. Something about the put this cracker on my tongue and the cum shot face are pretty much the same.
Can I be honest? I never had to put the cracker on your tongue. It was always the body of Christ, and you took it and you put it on your tongue. But the thing that got me was that gross-ass rosé wine mixed with water shit that they would just wipe off on the cup. And it's like, you have the flu? Nah, Jesus wiped that off. Like, you're good. It's like, no, you're not. Like, I'm going to get sick.
Jesus is clean, son. Drink up.
Jesus is helping you with your immune system.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I haven't gotten sick in a long time. Maybe Jesus really did help me with that. Or
Tucker,
the dirt
what was
that I ate.
your favorite, either through fear or enjoyment, Bible story that you heard in Catholic mass growing up?
All right, enjoyment. All right. So there was a really pretty girl in my like age group that was doing that we had like teen night, and our mass was Sundays at 5 p.m. because it was cooler than Saturday at 5. Cooler than Sunday at 8. So like all the teens would go, and you had like the hip priest, and it was like 2 hours long. 45 minutes of it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
45 minutes of it was the sermon instead of an hour, and then the rest, hour and 25, was like bonding experiences and like Jesus is cool, but like eat this sandwich, but also play bingo with God. And it was like, cool, whatever. Yeah, exactly. But like that's what they would do. So I heard Monday the Pope is coming to Baltimore, and we all can go, obviously, because we have tickets for everybody. So you can come and have mass with the Pope. And in my head, I hear you get to skip out on school and go hang out with this pretty girl. By the way, from Sunday night, from 5 p.m. onward, we're doing an all-nighter in the church where we're going to eat and watch movies and just hang out. And I was like, bro, I'm going to get to spend the night and hang out with this chick like I'm about it. So go to church that night. We have like pizza and it's good. We watch Pay It Forward, which I'd never seen. Good movie, by the way. Mm-hmm. Like whatever. Everybody's kind of going to sleep. Me and like the group of people, including this girl, are all like defiantly staying up because we have to leave at 5 a.m. by bus to go to Washington, D.C. That's fun. And I'm like, yeah, we're like, so I had a good time. We're on the bus. We go. I fall asleep during mass because it's about an hour-long communion session to fit 20,000 people into communion. It's in a fucking stadium. Mm-hmm. And on our way back, I make the mistake. Like, we're all sitting together, and the girl's like, I saw you like fall asleep during mass. Like, what happened? I was like, oh, I'm just tired. And she's like, you were just tired? And I was like, oh yeah, you know, like I can't believe anybody, you know, could stay up all night and then go to church. And she's like, well, I did. And I was like, well, I'm not a Jesus freak. And she looked at like I had murdered her cat. And I was like, well, that door just closed. Guess I don't have to care about Catholicism anymore. I'm just done with this shit. But like that was like one of those. I did. Well, I mean, it never bothered me. It was just kind of like what you did. But then at a certain point, I was like, I really want to sleep in on my Sundays. Like, I want to play video games till 2 a.m. and not get up at 6 a.m. Like, please let me go and have fun. And I got my dad never had to go to church if he didn't want to. Maybe a big Carolina football game was on. And I'm like, Mom, I want to watch the football game. She's like, no, you don't get to.
I went to church when, I don't know how old I was. What, like 8, 9, 10, 11, something like that. Who fucking knows? But I just remember like being in that Sunday school class, and our Sunday school teacher for my age group was in a wheelchair. And so that meant that she really had a hard time controlling that group of
she go wheel over and smack you?
She couldn't. So it was just a madhouse. Couldn't learn anything in there. And then the services were just, I hated it so much. And those old guys would stand up and start speaking in tongues. They just close their eyes and hands in the air and Shadarandak, Shadarandak.
What churches did you guys go to? I never had
any of that. And he'd go on like this shouting, and it's not like, you know, everybody just kept going, oh, shout his name. Like, no, like we're all just looking at this motherfucker as he like la 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 Rundak. Like we're gonna, and I'm listening closely, like, maybe there's something to be made of this. Like, is this Latin? Should someone be writing this down? That's what I wanted to say. Like, if anyone here doesn't know that this is bullshit right now, why the fuck aren't you all writing this down as fast as you can?
Can I say that out of my dad was a Methodist, and out of all the like denominations, Jewish or otherwise, that I got to experience throughout my years, because like a lot of my friends were Jewish, went to a lot of bar and bat mitzvahs. That was an experience. Fucking Methodists do it right. Not only is it not wine, it's delicious grape juice. If you're under the age of 15, they give you a bag of games and coloring books and shit. And you're just sitting there in the pews, like playing one of those like movable puzzle pieces. And you don't have to pay attention to Jesus. It's just like sitting here so dad can pray. And then you go up and they give you chunks of bread instead of the wafers. Like, they don't short you, you know? Methodists are the one. Yeah, I was about it. I was like, give me a baguette and some butter.